Okay, another stat is 66% believe that with enough willpower, a person can kick this habit on their own. We kind of talked about this a little bit. But what has your experience been as you help others? Do you find this to be true?
No, I don't. I have heard very few, if no, stories of somebody just saying, "Oh, I decided not to look at
Yeah.
pornography," and I stopped. Sometimes that can work for a few months. You can put some external controls like Covenant Eyes or things like that on your devices, and it helps.
Right.
But as we've already talked about, this is usually a deeply rooted problem of learning to cope with life
Yeah.
using pornography. And the secretism around it and the shame around it means it just gets so entrenched in you that sometimes you can have 6, 8 months of sobriety and then you end up right back to the place that you were. And this can be devastating for both the person who's struggling and if they're in a relationship for their spouse to be like, wow, I thought we already dealt with this and here we are again.
Mm-hmm.
And so recognizing that, again, this is a journey and it has to involve other people. And I think that's the other myth is, just me and God, we can deal with this. I'll
Yeah.
confess my sin. I'll pray more. I'll read my Bible more. But just really the way that God has wired us to heal is we need to be connected with other people on this journey, which is why I'm such a huge fan of Pure Desire because you give that opportunity to be honest and transparent with others who are struggling and be on that journey with you towards wholeness and healing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was in church ministry, I occasionally got to go into the prison and meet with people that wanted a chaplain's call. And I found it remarkable that in those years of doing that, I never met with a first-time drug offender. They were always repeat. And so one of my questions to them, and when they were meeting with me as the chaplain, they were like, this is it, I'm clean, I'm doing it God's way, I'm never coming back. And I would ask them, well, what's going to be different when you go out?
Yeah.
And they would really struggle to answer that question. And I would try to, gently point out, you're going back to an environment where whether it's your friendships, where you live, your pattern of life has taken you into drugs. And all of those reminders are still there. And maybe you're going to have willpower for a while, but pretty soon your circumstance and environment will take you back. And if you put that same idea into the use of pornography, we have that drug addiction, so to speak, the dopamine, the
Yeah.
chemical high in the brain, only we carry it with us. So the circumstance we go back into is being carried around in our brain, in our bodies, in our memories. And the thought that I could just do it alone, because we would never say to a drug addict, oh, yeah, you can do it alone, just have more willpower. We'd say, no, you're going to need to make changes. Well, the changes we need to make with the help of God and others are in our brains. And to think I can navigate that alone is really, I think, an area of foolishness. And we're going to become that repeat offender that keeps saying, okay, this time will be different. Well, what are you going to change? Well, I'm just not going to do it. Well, history and a whole lot of people would say that's simply not going to be enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if we're just relying, like you said, Julie, just God and myself, which I hear so much because the power of Jesus is so great. But then what
And it
happens
is.
when you keep messing up? Then you start to believe there must be something wrong with me and my salvation because I don't have enough faith to change this. And that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And then it was the realization that the reason why I'm in this situation is because I have some faulty thinking. And if I continue to pursue Jesus with just my own faulty thinking or, shame or pain that has happened to me over my life, then I'm going to keep ending up with the same result. I needed somebody else to say, this is not godly thinking. This is a lie you picked up somewhere along the way. And so it's not that our whole thing we do at Pure Desire is all about Jesus. But for me, it was realizing, believing who I really am in Jesus and acting it out. There was some brokenness there that I couldn't see, and I needed others to help me connect the dots and understand the truth of that.
Yeah.